The confidence of a white 24-year-old male from California is part of the line from a joke that Tim Dillon made. Let me make something very clear for you guys. I don't care about the jokes you want to laugh at. I don't care about the jokes other people say. You can quite literally, to my face, make the most vile joke, even about me. And you're allowed to do it. I ain't going to cry about it. But I am going to whinge about this joke, and not so much joke, but interaction from a Tim Dillon show that he posted the other day. And I'll tell you why. With 92,828 likes, Tim Dillon roasts a white 24-year-old man for being overconfident. And the audience laughs at it. And that's fine that they laugh at it, because you're allowed to laugh at a lot of things. And not every joke is true, but they say every joke has its truth. The story here with this joke is that a 24-year-old, 24, should not own a company, should not be successful. If they are, they're lying. Someone gave it to them, and everyone laughs as Tim Dillon says, this dude did not start a company. He works for his family. Maybe, maybe not. Let me play the joke for you, and then I'll break down for you what my concern is. I will state it not to bury the lead. This joke, in my opinion, exemplifies the failures of the millennial generation. Not Gen Z, not Gen X, not boomers, millennials. Tim Dillon's a millennial. He's 4 months older than me. And so I'm wondering why it is that you can get a crowd of people all laughing at the idea that it's impossible a 24-year-old could start a company. There was a poll I covered last week where millennials say they need $500,000 in order to feel comfortable, whereas Gen Z, Gen X, and boomers say $120,000 to $130,000, which is a bit more reasonable. It is, I believe at that number, it's where you're considered to be just above middle class, to where you're saving up. You have 2 weeks vacation, clothing, health insurance, etc. 500? Millennials are broken people. They tend to, and everyone's like, but Tim, you're a millennial. Duh? What? What does that have to do with anything? You're allowed to criticize if you're in a group or not. I'm not saying quite literally every single millennial is bad at what they do. I'm saying millennials as a generation tend towards entitlement, laziness, and a lack of confidence in their own abilities. Let me play you this clip. We'll take a listen to what our good friend, I like Tim Dillon. I'm not trying to rag on him, but I think this idea should be criticized. Are we getting sound here?
What do you do when you're life 24? What's that look like? Real estate. Good for you. Sell some houses. You have your own firm. Development. You have a real estate development firm at 24 years old. That's it. You started a real estate development firm at 24 years old.
Pause right here. You can already hear chuckling in the audience as Tim Dillon expresses, you started a real estate development firm at 24 years old. Really, you did. And people are chuckling. The premise already is that this 24-year-old could not have started his own real estate development firm. I'm going to break down for you exactly how he very easily could, but let's play some more.
By yourself. No one in the family's in it? Your dad's in it.
And there it is. Everyone busts out laughing because his dad is in it. Okay. All right, let's listen to some more, and then I'm gonna go off on that.
He just works in a job. There's nothing wrong with that. His dad is a real estate development firm.
His dad is a real estate development firm, and he works there. When did the kid say that? The kid said he started it, and his dad's in it. And already, the narrative has shifted. No, I get it. Dillon's trying to make a joke and laugh at everybody. So regardless of what's true, he's now saying, here we go. But let me play more.
He works there. But I asked him what he did for a living, and with a straight face, he looked in my eyes and he goes, I have a real estate development firm. And I go, you started it? He goes, yes, I did. And then I go, so no one else in your family works there? And he goes, my dad. The confidence of a white 24-year-old from California is insane.
Now that's true. Relative to the average millennial, the confidence of this white 24-year-old from California is insane. And it apparently drove him to start his own real estate development firm. Now, Tim Dillon goes on to say that, and again, I'm sorry, like, you're allowed to laugh. You're allowed to find whatever you want to find funny. I don't find that whole portion funny because, it grosses me out about millennials. Okay. We don't all have to agree on what's funny. I get these people being like, Tim has no sense of humor. Dude, just because I don't find this one thing funny, calm down. The next portion is pretty funny. He basically goes on to say the kid was accused of rape. And so the dad was like hiring lawyers. And then it was like, we're bringing you home and you only got one more chance or we're cutting you off. You're going to work for my real estate development firm. Okay, that's pretty funny. Whatever. Here's what really bums me out about this. A lot of people are going to try and make that argument that, it's just a comedy show and they're all laughing and no, listen. Here's my point. The premise of the joke initially is that a man, you're 24, you're a man. It is unbelievable that he started his own real estate company. Let me break it down for you, ladies and gentlemen. Man, this breaks my heart. Let's give you an extremely realistic and plausible scenario for this 24-year-old. 24, dude. At 24, you are solidified, fully grown, fully developed human being. Okay, you're not growing anymore. In fact, for the next several years, you're in a cellular stasis and then aging begins. He is not growing up. He is a grown up. How do you have your own real estate development firm at 24? Well, there's the obvious that he may have literally just started it at 24. And he says you started at 24. Dude may have started at 22. Now, I know there are many people who are like, that you can't do it. It's like, oh, man, let me slow you down right there. Let's try this. Let's say the family has a family business and the kid starts work very young. And then once he's 16, he upgrades from like mailroom help where he's only getting $100 a week, if that. Working for the family, but maybe $50. When I worked for my family business, which was short-lived, went bankrupt, didn't work out for us, but I'd make something like $35 to $50 a week, and I'd work 2 days, and it was almost all tips. I think it was only tips. And it was a family business. We all worked for the family business, and I bought my own stuff. Now, that was when I was 9, all right, 9 to 11-ish. Let's say this kid is doing a paper route at 12, and he's making only a couple bucks, puts in his piggy bank, saves it. Parents help him start a bank account. Let's say he works a family job. At 16, they say, you're no longer the mailroom guy. Now you can drive. Now you're going to work deliveries with our other employee. Now he's getting $10 an hour. And so what? He saves it up, puts it in the bank, doesn't really ever need to spend it. Family's paying for food and shelter. Maybe he pays a little bit of rent. From 16 till 22, let's say he's working. And I'm not saying this is what this kid did. I'm saying, let me give you a realistic scenario. From 16 to 22, he's working. And he easily saves up $20,000. And I'm sorry, man. I know people are going to be like, what? How do you say? Dude, if you are working from, I personally know people who were low income in Chicago who at the age of 19 had $10,000 saved. You imagine you're making a couple $100 a week. You're working full time. You're living with your parents. Not everybody can do it. Okay, I'm not saying that. But then, so within what, like a few months, you've got $1,000 saved up because you're spending money. I get that. So if you're working 16 to 22 full time, you can save up $20,000. Then what happens? With his dad as a co-signer, he buys a house, puts that money as the down payment. And they say, how are you going to make the payments? I work a job. I've been working for several years. I now make $15 or $20 an hour. I'm an assistant manager. I can cover the costs of this $150,000 property. Puts in the work himself to fix it up and flips it. Makes another $20,000. Puts it back into savings. Now he's up. Pays back the loan with interest, development fees, all that stuff. Maybe he's now sitting at 35, 40K. He now says to the bank, I'm good for it. My dad's a co-signer. So when he's like, my dad is in it, what Tim Dillon is making the joke out to be is that his dad owns a firm and he's just there. A real estate development firm doesn't mean the kid is building $5 million mansions or skyscrapers like Donald Trump. It could mean that he got a loan from a bank, flipped a couple properties from the age of 22 to 24, working every day with guidance from his father, but he started it. It could be, and this is what people don't know, the first investment round for any business, friends and family. That's like legally expected, actually. They have a thing called accredited investors. In order to actually invest substantially in businesses, you have to make more than $250,000 a year or have a net worth higher than $1 million. They may have changed it recently, but I haven't been in this space in a minute. At the age of, how old was I? 21, my friends and I started a company. And we were doing fundraising and nonprofit marketing, and we made some money. And then ultimately we moved on from it. And at the age of 23, I started another company doing mobile apps. And if someone were to say to me, what do you do for a living? I'd say, well, we have a mobile app development company. You have a mobile app development company at 23? Are you kidding? Yeah. Is that a joke? This is what bums me out. Two things. One, so the kid is working with his dad. How could that be? And I'm not saying this is the true story. It very well may be that his dad did everything for him, and that's fine. I'm saying we should not operate under this assumption. And the fact that everybody laughs at the idea it's heartbreaking. Okay? It should just be like, why is that funny? That's normal. Right? If someone came in and said, so what do you do for a living? I mow lawns. You mow lawns? Yes, I mow lawns. Where? In my neighborhood? In your neighborhood? Oh, can you believe it? This guy, you'd be like, I don't understand the joke. Like, people mow lawns, the normal thing to do. The joke is that it's unbelievable. It's laughable that this kid is actually just claiming it because he's an overconfident white male. Here's what it could be. The kid saves up, goes to his dad and said, Dad, I want to start developing real estate. And the dad says, okay, well, we're going to start small, right? It's going to cost $200. You can build a new house, maybe somewhere $150,000, $200,000. You're going to buy a lot. The lot might actually only be $10,000 to $20,000. What's your down payment? And the kid says, I've saved up. I've talked to the bank. I need a cosigner. Will you help me do this, Dad? And the dad says, you got it, son. Maybe the dad's nearing retirement. Dad's got free time. What does working with him really mean? It could be that simple. You don't need a dad to do it. You can do it entirely on your own. You can work from 16, putting yourself through school and saving up, not going and buying drinks, not wasting money, not partying, and just working really, really hard and sacrificing and sleeping on couches, and have enough money for a down payment on a property, especially if you're doing something low like 5 to 10%. Maybe he went to his family and said, I want to start a real estate development firm. And they said, okay, well, you're going to need money. So his dad says, I'm going to invest $10,000 in you. The kid's got $10,000 in savings. His dad invests $10,000. The dad says, I'll help you with day-to-day operations. The kid goes and does all the work himself, and his dad helps. How crazy is the thought? That kid started the business. That kid is running things, and his dad is being a dad, providing guidance and giving a helping hand to his son to get his business off the ground. But it is laughable. This is my thing about the millennial generation. They at 24, it's shocking to me. The idea at 24, you would not be running your own business. The assumption is you're just a kid who works for your dad. Here's the other reality. His dad went to the kid and said, I want you to start your own business. And the dad really, really pushed him. It's still the kid's business. If the dad was or was not there, here's another scenario. The dad's a deadbeat drunk. The kid had to survive and find his own way. And then eventually when he's older, he says, Dad, I'm going to give you a job. You're going to work the front desk. You're going to handle paperwork for me. Don't screw this up. That's a reality too. Very unlikely in my opinion. But how sad is it that today, the joke is, if your parents help you, you're working for them. If you're 24, it's laughable, the thought that you could have your own business. That's crazy. The kid might not even need a down payment to buy the house. The kid might just get a business loan. Maybe the kid flips some properties, has money, has collateral. The dad co-signs on a business loan. The kid goes to the bank and says, here's how much we need to build the first house. This is the area. I've done my research. We're going to sell it and we're going to make money. And it's going to be in 8 months. And the bank says, let's roll, baby. Why? We got a co-signer. When he said his dad is involved. Not everybody has the luxury of having a co-signer with collateral. Generational wealth is a thing. I think it plays a significant role in the success of future generations. But it bums me out. Here I am. I'm somebody who worked really, really hard at a young age with starting companies and trying to build a business. And I hear this kid, he's 24, and they're laughing at the idea that he could start his own firm. And I got to tell you, it's like, don't think that way, man. Bro, you can laugh at me and insult me any way you want. You can think whatever you want. You're allowed to do it. I'm just saying, this shouldn't be funny to you. Again, you can laugh. And some people are going to be like, no, I get it. He's goofing off. It's not true. That's fine. That's fine. What I'm saying is, it should be normal to you. It should be normal. You should be like, why? I don't understand what the joke is. Tons of 24-year-olds start businesses and succeed. That should be the normal thing. And I wonder, man, I wonder if the reason why there's a difference between millennials and Gen X or Gen Z is actually the internet. I've told this story before when I'm walking out in front of VidCon, this big video conference. It sucks, by the way, but it's big. And I hear these kids, they're like 10 years old. And this is like 8 years ago. So these kids are adults now. And the one kid's like, you have 60 followers? How do you have so many followers? And, you know, as bad as it is to have this weird, this like score in your life, some of these kids, many of them are growing up and they're seeing YouTubers be entrepreneurs, independently wealthy and successful, and they're thinking, I can do it too. And the only reality is it's going to be you. So a child, 10, 12 years old, is thinking to themselves, how can I solve for this to build a business and make money on social media? Whereas millennials are like, who can I work for? Because it's not possible for me to start a business. Millennials, a lost generation. Just hands down, a lost generation. But I tell you, man, it is what it is. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? I know that a lot of people are going to respond being like, it's just a joke, calm down. That's not my point, dude. You can literally make the argument that the dude was aided by unseen forces and laugh about whatever you want to laugh about. My point is simply, it should not be funny to anybody in any way. It should be akin to a guy saying, you woke up and brushed your teeth? This guy brushes his teeth. Everyone's going to be like, yeah, I brush my teeth too. Like, you'll chuckle. You'll be like, yeah, he brushes his teeth and we're having a good time here. But it should just be as mundane as possible that a 24-year-old man, an adult male, dude, I don't know. My first job was when I was like 9. I moved out when I was 18, started my own company, several companies by the time I was like 21 or 22. I don't know why. It just bums me out. And I do mention this. There is this mentality among millennials, mostly millennials, that in order to make money, you have to get a job. And I've always been like, to make money, you got to convince someone to give you money. That's it. It's trade. I walk up to you and I say, how can I convince you to give that money to me? But it has to be willful. So you can't trick someone and you can't force them. You have to give a real exchange. It's really that simple. You walk up to someone and say, hey, look at this. I got a tech deck right here. It's a pro model. It's got the little spongy grip tape. It's a lot of fun. I'll give this to you and you give me $10 and we trade. Now, what if I said, this is a rare, limited edition, one of its kind, blah, 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 and it wasn't true? Criminal fraud, deceiving someone with the intent to steal from them. But there are certainly nuances and finer points in sales. You can always embellish, but you can't defraud. That's really what it's all about. Can I convince you to willfully part with your money in exchange for a service or good that I may have? But too many millennials think, I have to get a boss and get a paycheck at a job. Too many. I'm not saying every, too many. That's just not reality, man. If you're 24 and you're listening to this video, dude, you can easily start a company. There may be many of you who are like, it's impossible. I don't have the money. I got bad news for a lot of you. You were misled by older generations, and I get it. I really do. I really do think a lot of millennials were misled. Told to go to college. Let me break it down for you. You're 18 years old. And you go to the bank and say, I'd like a loan of $40,000. Let's say there's two 18-year-olds. One person says, with that loan, I'm going to go to college. And they say, okay, what's your expected 4-year return? Negative $40,000. What? The other guy says, I'm going to start a banana stand. And I'm going to sell chocolate-covered bananas and whipped cream and bananas Foster outside a park. Okay, $40,000 invested in this business. What do you have to show for it after 4 years? I got news for you guys. The banana stand itself is a hard asset that retains the value. Now, he's going to need several $1,000s for the initial product, which is the bananas and the chocolate syrup and this permitting and stuff. But for the most part, you can probably start a banana stand for substantially less. You have to get a lease from the city for the property. It could be a couple $100 a month if you're in a certain area. You could do a banana cart where you buy a cart for maybe $7,000. It's got, the internal working stuff for cooling and heating and whatever. And then you sell bananas on the side of the road running your own business. And in 4 years, what do you have to show for it? The hard asset of the banana cart and you've turned a profit and you've paid yourself. And over that period of time, you've bought things. You bought a car. You got a new cell phone. Those are hard assets as well. Meaning you will be net positive. Someone who spends 40 grand on college will be minus $40,000. And somebody who invests in a banana stand will be positive. Even if it's only $5,000. Let's say they lose a bunch of money, but they still retain $5,000 in the hard asset of the car. That means they are still better off than the college graduate who's negative plus interest. Isn't that nuts? You go to a bank and you ask for an investment, and if you said after 4 years I'll have negative $40,000, they will say, have a nice day. You say, well, our worst case scenario is we will retain the hard assets of production, which means I think we'll have at least $10,000 in value. With the remainder of the money, we should be net positive. Here's our projections. Here's how much money we're going to make. Here's how much we're going to sell the bananas for. Here's the foot traffic. People love bananas. In which case, the reality is you're going to say, I think we'll be cash flow positive within the first week. We're going to pay off the remainder of this loan within 2 years. Portions of the money is going to go towards our income. There's going to be interest. You're going to lose on the interest. I think within 4 years, we're going to be cash flow positive plus holding about $5,000 in assets. I think we'll have a net worth of around $7,000 in our little hot dog stand. But let's be real, 4 years, it's probably going to be $20,000 or $30,000 positive. The bank's going to be like, sounds good to us. In the meantime, we've generated $5,000 a year in interest and fees, and the business is flourishing. Let's roll, baby. I feel bad for millennials, man. I'll leave it there. Next segment is coming up tonight at 8 p.m. over at youtube.com/TimcastIRL. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.